Welcome back to my YouTube channel, I guess. I I don't like these phrases that YouTubers say. I'm not really a YouTuber anyway, but you know. Um right. So the first chapter, I apologize for the recording. I fixed the filters. It should be fine this time now. Also the mic's positioned a little differently. So we should be good. We're going to go into chapter 2 now. And chapter 2 is called The Wait. As in, not waiting, but the weight of how she feels, how it's crushing her, essentially. Right, so here we go. The first few days, people came for her neighbors, friends, distant cousins she hadn't spoken to since the last family tragedy. They brought casseroles and soft voices and tired eyes. They brought paper plates and scented candles and hugs that lingered too long. But they didn't come for her. Not really. They came for Nikki, the girl who lived, the miracle child, the one who didn't fall. They sat with her on the couch, brushed her hair, cooked her grilled cheese sandwiches she barely touched. They cleaned the house, they did the laundry, they swept up the broken mug she never bothered to pick up. They turned down Loreanne's bed every night. But Loreanne never came. At first, she'd move from room to room like a ghost. She ate small bites of food just to make the others stop worrying, drank water, nodded along when spoken to, pretended. But then something shifted. A week in, she stopped trying. She stayed in her bedroom, curtains drawn, lights off, no sound except for the occasional creak of the old wood beneath her bed frame when she shifted positions, which she rarely did. Nikki would knock sometimes, quietly. Mom, I'm okay. Just wanted you to know. No answer. Just the sound of her mother breathing through her nose, shallow, measured, like she was trying not to be alive too loudly. The thoughts came slowly, like water seeping through cracks. At first, she tried to push them away. Royden should have lived. It should have been Nikki. She'd think it, then hate herself for it. Because what kind of a mother wishes that? What kind of monster lets that thought exist in her head for even 1 second? She imagined Royden's mother sitting in his room, hugging his pillow, and she imagined herself doing the same. And the shame, God, the shame, it hit like a blade pressed against her ribs. She should be feeling that pain, but she wasn't, because her daughter was alive. And that meant somewhere, some other mother was broken instead. And that made Loreanne feel like the worst person on earth, a thief of fate, a trespasser in a life she no longer deserved. The world kept turning. Outside her window, cars drove by, children laughed, someone mowed the lawn and set a time, froze. Her body was still there, on the bed, curled under a blanket she hadn't changed in days, but her spirit, it was somewhere else, somewhere dark, somewhere cold. Loreanne wasn't sleeping. She was disappearing, and no one knew how to bring her back. The house is quiet again. No more visitors, no more casseroles. The last batch of well meaning comfort food was left on the porch 2 days ago, untouched. Nikki goes to school now, quietly, comes home quietly. She doesn't knock anymore. She just listens at the door for the sound of her mother's breathing. Sometimes she cries, but softly, always softly. Loreanne hasn't moved in days. She lies she lies curled on her side facing the wall, staring at nothing, thinking about nothing, except pain. Not just hers, everyone's. Royden's mother, his father, the teacher who couldn't reach him in time, the kids who saw him fall, and underneath it all, this terrible burning guilt that her daughter is still here, that she gets to hug her child, that her hands are still full with someone else's while someone else's are empty. She wants to scream. She wants to disappear. She wants. She doesn't even know anymore. But something inside her whispers, take it. Just take it away. Not out loud. Not even a whisper in her room. It's deeper than that. Buried in her soul. A plea without form. And something hears it. The shadows in the corner of her room shift, almost imperceptibly. The kind of movement that makes the back of your neck prickle even if your eyes say nothing's there. Loreanne doesn't sit up, doesn't look, but she feels it. A presence. Watching, waiting. Not warm, not cruel. Just there. The kind of thing that doesn't knock. It waits for invitation. And whether she knows it or not, she's already opened the door. She closes her eyes. Her lips barely move. Please, I don't care who you are. Just take it. Take this pain. I can't do this anymore. And in the silence that follows, something shifts in the air. The kind of shift that makes the room colder though the even though the heater is still on. The kind of shift that feels like a smile forming where no mouth exists. She doesn't hear the door open, doesn't hear footsteps, doesn't hear a voice. But when she finally shifts, finally turns over in her bed, he's there, sitting in the chair by the window, legs crossed, hands resting loosely in his lap, like he's waiting for her to look at him. He is beautiful. Not in a loud, movie star kind of way, but in the way fog is beautiful as it settles over a graveyard, in the way silence is beautiful after a scream. Hair, dark as obsidian, curling softly at the edges. Skin like marble with a hint of warmth, like it once remembered the sun. And eyes, God, the eyes, ancient and infinite, like they've watched empires crumble and didn't blink. He smiles gently when she sees him, not intrusive, not surprised, as if he's always been here. Hello, Loreanne, he says, voice smooth as silk, heavy as sleep. She doesn't scream, doesn't move, doesn't ask how he knows her name. She's too tired, too numb. She just stares. I hope you don't mind, he continues. I've been nearby. For a while. You called out. Her lips part. Dry, cracked. I didn't call anyone. You didn't have to, he tilts his head. Pain has a frequency, and yours is exquisite. That should scare her, but it doesn't, because his voice isn't cruel. It's soft, almost sad. I know you're hurting, he says. I know what you carry, the guilt, the shame, the impossibility of gratitude when grief is tangled in it. She closes her eyes, her throat tightens. He knows. I'm not here to punish you, he adds gently. You've done that enough on your own. And somehow, those words hit harder than any slap. A tear slips down her cheek. Just one. She doesn't wipe it away. Who are you? She asks, voice barely there. He leans forward, not too close, respectfully close, like a priest or a mourner. Someone who can help, he says, if you want me to. He doesn't move from the chair, doesn't even blink too much. Loreanne shifts under the blanket, pulling it tighter around her, like it could shield her from something she can't quite name. But he doesn't press. I know you've spoken very few words lately, he says, voice low and calm, like someone reading bedtime stories to ghosts. So let me do that part for a while. You can just listen. She doesn't respond, but he doesn't look away either. I know what people say to you, how lucky you are, how grateful you should be. His tone never sharpens, no mockery, just quiet knowing. They say the wrong things because they don't know the right ones, because there aren't any. And that's chapter 2. I will probably keep going today for a few more chapters and see you there. Again, I will link Siren's Twitch and the link to the story down in the description below. So, yeah. Once again, that stupid phrase, like and subscribe.